This is going to be so hard to do and talk at the same time. I'm creating these scribble letters that I have to individually drag and drop over the video, and they will animate, as you can sort of see here. And the idea of that is to make it look like it's hand-drawn animation. Each one of these has been created individually, and I have to spell out the name of this band and the name of this song. And I'm doing it from using the OBS recording software, because what I'm actually editing this on and what I'm actually filming this, and what I'm recording this video with and what I'm doing this on are two different machines. So I'm using the recorder as a secondary monitor. Does that make any sense to you? And I just realized I messed up, so I have to start over. So we're off to a fantastic start. And this is what it is right now. This is the content. And I hope you appreciate it, because it's basically going to kill me. What I'm doing here is incredibly tedious and incredibly difficult, because there is a slight delay on the monitor. And this has to be done by hand. There is no other way to do this, given this particular setup. Yeah, so each one of these is a video clip of a looping animation of a hand-drawn letter. And I remember one time I interviewed a editor who's going to be working with me, and he was very talented, don't get me wrong, but he had a confidence about himself, and everything he said was, trying to impress, as you would in an interview. That part's understandable, but he described everything he did in his editing process as if it was like this super complicated thing. And I think he forgot that the people interviewing him were also editors, because, for example, he basically said that he made what I'm making now, these hand-drawn letters, but he did it by drawing a letter on a piece of paper over and over and over, and then each piece of paper, and each time he drew it, he would scan it. He would scan it into a computer and then make the background transparent and line them up and create the same animation. And the whole time I'm thinking, haven't you ever just heard of an animating software? I did these on an iPad, and it took me, I don't know, an hour of work, and what he described was something that would take just so much time, completely unnecessary. And I did see the final product, and it looked no better than this. Actually, it kind of looked worse, just because he couldn't see how he drew the previous letter, because in animation there's something called onion skinning, which is where you can see what the previous frame looked like, and you can kind of trace it. And I don't know. It just was like it felt very not impressive. It was like, okay, well, you just took the longest route to do something that should not have taken you. You just described that you did not think through that process, and you're not really savvy enough to have identified a faster way to do it. So he didn't get the job for many reasons, but that's just one that I remembered. And I remember he described how he allegedly went into Premiere's, Adobe Premiere, a common editing software. It's what you're seeing here. It's like an industry standard. And he described how he went in there and looked at the code of the software and fixed a bug. And that was supposed to impress us with how resourceful he was. But I don't know, just the way he described it was so well, I hacked into the mainframe. And it was like, did you really though? Did you really go into the code of the software to fix a bug? I'm no programmer, but I'm going to assume that the code for a software like this is incredibly complex. And it just felt a little far-fetched. I'm not calling him a liar. I don't know the guy, so I don't know. But there was just a lot of that kind of stuff where it was like, okay, that's so unnecessary. Like, what are you even talking about? But again, I mean, like, his reel was really impressive. Like, he made some really good stuff. But, you know, anytime you've ever worked in any job, you know how important personalities are. And we weren't off to the best start in terms of, like, his personality. He just seemed like he was a little bit try-hard. And, I don't know. Just bad vibes all around. The problem with that hiring process, though, is finding somebody who's really good. This is going to sound weird, but sometimes finding people who are really good in a like a craft that is mostly commission based, like most people are doing commission work. To find somebody really good, they're usually kind of got their own thing going anyways. So to hire somebody full time, and I say that as somebody who does work for a company full time, it's just hard. It's hard to find, because you either get people who are like trying to get good at their craft enough to like make a living, or you get people who, well, that's really all you get. That first part. It's like really hard to find it, like the diamond in the rough. Okay, I gotta look up the name of the song now. I hope it's easy. I think it's one word. Yes, it is. And this is a really awful thing what I'm doing right here for somebody who is as bad of a speller as me. Because my short-term memory, like, I can't spell, and then my short-term memory, my working memory specifically, is so atrocious that, you know, I have to look back and forth like a million times. The other thing that's sort of the wild card here is, this might not look like a lot, but the fact these are all .moves, MOVs files, which are transparent layers, obviously, and they take a lot of computing power for the computer to render out those what are they called? What are called alpha channels. And so each one of these letters is its own layer that it's putting on top of the video. So it has to render each layer individually, and then also each layer stacked on top of each other. So the more letters that I add to this screen, the more computing power it's going to require to make it all run and happen. And I have yet to really hit play since I've added all of these letters, but my guess is I'm not going to get a good sense of what this looks like. Additionally, tricky is the footage that I'm placing these on top of is 8K, and it's a super high bitrate footage file. So this machine's got its work cut out for it. I am able to nest these so that they kind of operate as one layer. So instead of having 1 million, I have 4. And I'm going to see, but I might have to flip the ones on this side just to give it more. No, that looks okay. That looks okay. All right, let's play this layer by itself. It's really violently fast. A little too fast, but here, we might be able to go in and see how this all looks over its top of itself. Nope, I'm not seeing any "the" in their YouTube postings, so I think that's all that it's going to be. I guess we'll go with something pretty fine, like a 35 millimeter film grain here, which is going to spook you. That's what it looks like right now. But if we scale the frame size and we select the blending mode to overlay, and I'm going to turn down the opacity just a hair at 75%. And that you can't even see the detail, but you can see the differences there. It makes it a little more white. I'm going to have to double check that on my screen here, but I'm going to go ahead and Hail Mary that one as well and copy it throughout the entire project. Yep, we'll see. All right, I'm going to render that out. That's it. That's the content.